All right, welcome. Today we are diving into one of those sections of Surah Al-Baqarah that, let's be honest, can be super tricky. If you've ever found yourself getting tangled up in these verses, you're going to want to stick around. We're about to break down a really simple but incredibly powerful trick that will help you master this part for good.
I mean, if you've ever tried to memorize or even just follow along with this part of the Quran, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're cruising along, following the story of Musa and the children of Israel, and then all of a sudden, you're kind of lost. Wait, which and when verse was I on? It's such a common stumbling block, but what if I told you there's a secret code, like a little cheat sheet baked right into the text to make it easy?
So yeah, the struggle is real with this part. It's famous for being packed with all these verses that sound almost identical, which makes memorizing them a real challenge. But here's the thing, the solution is right there, hiding in plain sight within the text itself.
The main culprit, the source of all this confusion, is this one little phrase, what if, which means and when. It just keeps popping up over and over again, and that repetition is what makes it so easy to lose your place.
Okay, so how do we crack this thing? Well, we're going to look at what's basically a 3-1 Quranic code. I want you to think of it like a mental map, or maybe even a cheat sheet that makes this whole section click. And this pattern is totally unique to this specific section of the Quran.
Believe it or not, the whole secret comes down to a repeating pattern of just 2 little words. And once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. It's awesome. Okay, so the first word in our pattern is, no surprise here, the one that gives everyone so much trouble. What if?
But here's the secret sauce. It doesn't just show up randomly. It shows up in a very specific group of 3. That's right, 3 verses, back to back to back, all start with what if.
Now, right after that group of 3, the Quran throws in a different word to break things up, and that word is thumma, which just means then.
And get this, thumma shows up just one time. It's like a big, bright signpost in the text telling you, hey, we're changing gears here.
Okay, so let's put it all together. This is the pattern you are never going to forget. You get 3, count them, 3 verses starting with wa'iv. Then you get 1 verse starting with thumma. And then, guess what? The whole thing repeats. Another 3 wa'iv verses, followed by 1 more thumma verse. This 3-1-3-1 structure is your roadmap. It's your guide through this whole section.
But hold on, it gets even cooler. Because this pattern isn't just about how the verses start, there's another clue hidden in how some of them end.
And this little detail, this is what makes it all click into place. Check this out. Every single time a verse in this section starts with our special separator word, thumma, it always ends with the phrase la'allakum tashkurun, which means so that you may be grateful. It's a perfect match every time. Okay, so now that we know the secret code, let's actually put it to work. We're going to see how this code lines up perfectly with the story of the children of Israel. You'll see it's not just some random grammar rule, it actually shapes the story itself.
All right, before we dive into the story, let's quickly go over a few key words so we're all on the same page. We're going to come across things like being afflicted with hardship, the incredible miracle of the sea parting, a fearsome thunderbolt, and of course, the divine food of manna and salwa. These are the building blocks of the events we're about to map out.
So how does our 3-1 pattern actually map onto the story? Well, the first group of 3 wa'at verses, they cover the big stuff, their escape from Pharaoh, the parting of the sea, and Musa receiving the revelation on the mountain. And then, bam, the thumma verse hits, and it marks a huge turning point, their forgiveness after the whole golden calf incident. And after that, the pattern just resets and does it all over again for the next part of the story. It is just brilliant.
And here's a perfect example of the pattern in action. This is that first thumma verse we were just talking about. It starts with thumma, then we forgave you. So it's clearly about God's mercy after they made a huge mistake. And look how it ends, exactly like our rule predicted, so that you may be grateful. It's a perfect match. See how it works?
So you see, this whole thing isn't just some clever little memory hack. It's really a key that unlocks a much deeper understanding of the amazing structure of the text and the way the story flows.
So let's wrap this up. The main takeaway here is pretty huge. When you get this simple 3-1-3-1 structure, not only does memorization become like a million times easier, but you also start to see the story in a whole new light. You can actually see this rhythm, this flow, where the wa'iv verses are all about these incredible divine favors, and then the thumma verses come in to mark these moments of human mess-ups and, more importantly, divine forgiveness.
And that kind of brings me to one last question for you. This incredible pattern has been hiding there,
in plain sight this whole time, in one of the most recited books on earth. So now that you know what to look for, now that you have this key, what other amazing, beautiful patterns are just waiting for you to discover as you read?